Hello everybody. Welcome to Lesson Face. My name is Kate Hicks and I teach flute and recorders with Lesson Face. Today's lesson is going to be about vibrato, that wavy thing. And it's going to be about where to put your vibrato. Now I have a whole bunch of flute lessons that I also have a YouTube channel called Mrs. Hicks and Your Fun Flute and Recorder Lessons. Look that up because I have a playlist of flute stuff, and in there I talk about how to make a vibrato. So look that up if you want to. But basically the basics, you're doing some pulsing, da, it's like ha ha ha, but you connect it, da. And in my lesson that I have on that YouTube channel, I talk about how to control it, and it's done with a metronome. Takes a while, but you're basically teaching your muscles what they need to do. Once you kind of have your pulses kind of in shape, then what I do is I have my students put a vibrato, say, into just a scale. So I'm going to demonstrate that today. So again, if you're one of the lucky people who just taught yourself vibrato by yourself, good for you. I wasn't one of them. Metronome makes you steady, Freddy, and in control. So for example, when we do our pulses with a vibrato, usually it's 3 per beat, 4 per beat, or 5 pulses per beat. So I'm going to demonstrate the 3 and the 4. So here's my little metronome here. I'm going to turn it on, and let's say I'm going to start at 80 beats per minute. Okay, like so. That's a funny sound. And I'm going to do 3 per beat. Think triple it, da, all control, and I'll start on maybe a G major scale. And that was 3 pulses per beat. Now, when we do it, I also tell my students, when you put your vibrato and you're switching to another note that also requires vibrato, you need to have a pulse right at the beginning of that next note, right on the beat, like. As soon as I start a next note, I have a pulse right on it. What you don't want to do is this. That doesn't sound in control at all. So you want it just nice and even. Start with just a couple of notes in the scale and then move on up to the entire scale so that the pulses are just nice and even with each other and in control. And count them with the vibrato, how many pulses per beat. So at 80, you work up to, say, 3 pulses per beat. Then when you have that down in shape, then pop it down to, say, 60 and think 4 pulses per beat, like alligator, alligator, da. And here's how it would sound. At the end there. Okay, so then, now when I play my music in orchestra and stuff, usually when I'm playing really fast music and there's short notes, tends to slip into 3 per beat. And then when I have elongated notes, usually it slips into like 4 per beat, 5 per beat, that sort of thing. Then when you have it in control, you're like, okay, I can do a vibrato now. Now where do you put it? So I have up here Amazing Grace, just a little part of Amazing Grace because it's such a beautiful, beautiful song. And typically you start putting vibrato in the half notes and the whole notes. That's a good place to do it. So here I have Amazing Grace, and looks like I'm going to have a vibrato on a G, B's, D's, and high D. So just practice a little vibrato on each one of those. Let's say I am at 3 per beat at 80. So here on a G. A B. G, I mean the high D. All right, then maybe I'm going to do it at 4 pulses per beat. So I'll do it on some of these notes here on a G. It's really beautiful. Personally, I think it slips into 4 per beat is just really just gorgeous. Now I'm just going to go ahead and play Amazing Grace, and I'll do it to 80, 3 per beat with each pulse, and let's give that a try. Right over here at 3 per beat. Like that. It's really pretty when you finally can put the vibrato in. It's just so much fun to play around with it. Now I'm going to do I'm going to pop it down to 60 at 4 per beat. Da. I'm not a very good singer, that's why I play my flute. All right, so at 4 per beat. Okay, ran out of breath a little bit on that one. Anyway, it's all about control, guys. And it's so much fun when you're able to do the vibrato. It just changes everything when you play your music. Now, I've got a couple of other things here. So when you do vibrato, what we don't want to do, like singers can get away with it. They go, bah, and then they put the vibrato at the end of a note, like, we don't want to do that. As wind players, flute players, you want to start the vibrato at the beginning of the note. You're going to vibrato. Okay, so always nice and even. All right, here's another good one. Don't vibrato everywhere you can just because you can. Let's say if I put a vibrato on every single note in part of this Amazing Grace. That gets really annoying. So you don't want to do that. You just sort of pick and choose what notes you're going to put a vibrato in. All right, that really makes sense. All right, what else? Faster vibrato in faster music, slower in the slow. And that kind of makes intuitive sense. So, you know, if you have a beautiful slow piece, a slower vibrato is appropriate. But the thing is, you have to be able to control the vibrato. That's why we do this with your wonderful metronome, and be able to make it fast, make it slow. Whatever you want to do that makes sense with the music. And in orchestra, for example, if you have a very showy solo and it's all you, then we tend to, put a little bit more shine on the vibrato, and that's an appropriate time to do it. When you don't have a solo, you just kind of want to blend in with everybody else, and you want to make the vibrato just a little bit lower in amplitude so it's not so noticeable. Last but not least, less is more. This is really important, guys. In the olden days, they used to put vibratos everywhere, and it's just awful. But now, and listen to the people in the orchestra and all that kind of stuff, the vibrato is just the icing on top. Less is more, and you'll have a lot of fun just like choosing where in the phrase to put the vibratos on the notes, and you're just going to sound fantastic. And finally, always control the vibrato. The vibrato does not control you. So important. All right, I hope this lesson was, useful for you. And again, my name is Kate Hicks. Find me on Lesson Face and that other YouTube channel for other flute lessons. I'm Mrs. Hicks and your fun flute and recorder lessons. And you know what? Life is good, guys. Come join me and we'll have a lot of fun. Bye.